When the golden doors of the imperial war court opened, every noble expected a monster to enter. A towering Terran champion wrapped in armor, bred in gravity wells. Instead, Earth sent an old man with silver hair, a black coat, and a wooden cane that clicked once against the crystal floor. The entire court laughed until the old human looked at the throne, looked at the princess, and did not kneel. Princess Valara had been raised beneath 7 moons and 1,000 rules, every bow measured, every word approved. Every breath watched by ministers who valued bloodlines over lives. Her mother, Empress Thalira, had announced that Valara would be bound to Lord Carvox, commander of the Iron Choir, a warlord with plated horns and a fleet large enough to turn planets silent. Valara refused, so Carvax invoked the oldest right. If she had no champion, she would belong to the victor by imperial law. Earth was the last name on her desperate list, a blue world mocked as primitive. Noisy, sentimental, and impossible to discipline. Then Earth answered with one name, Elias Ward, retired. The herald read the record with confusion. Former infantry captain, former peace negotiator, age 71, Earth years. No noble blood, no enhancement, no ceremonial blade. Carvax laughed until the glass banners trembled, because Elias looked like someone who belonged beside a warm window. Not before the most feared duelist in 3 systems, but the old man leaned on his cane. Studying the court as if sent only to measure the exits, the High Marshal spoke first. All champions kneel before the throne and swear service to imperial blood. Elias turned his tired eyes toward Valara, whose hands were clenched until her rings bit skin. He gave the smallest nod. Not to the Empress, but to her, then said, I swore service once, to people who could not defend themselves. I have never sworn to furniture. The laughter died, old human, the Empress said. You stand in the heart of my empire. Elias tapped his cane once. Yes, your majesty, that is why I am standing. In that single moment, every alien in the hall understood. The old man had not come to survive the court. He had come to challenge its fear. Lord Carvax descended in armor that moved like living iron. Carrying a crescent blade taller than Elias himself, Elias removed his coat and handed it to Valara. She saw scars across his forearms. Not ceremonial marks, but old war, old survival. At his belt hung no sword, only a treaty-locked sidearm. Useless in ritual combat, Carvax smiled and said, Did Earth send me a grandfather? Elias answered. No. Earth sent you a warning that survived long enough to retire. The duel began with thunder. Carvax moved first. Faster than something that large should move, his blade carving through the air where Elias had been. The old human did not dodge like a young warrior. He stepped like a man who had spent a lifetime refusing to be where death expected him. 1 step left, cane low, 1 step back, shoulder turned. The crescent blade struck crystal, bright fragments jumping across the floor. Carvax attacked again, and again Elias gave ground. Not fleeing, arranging, pulling the giant across invisible lines only he could see. Valara realized the cane was not weakness. It was a metronome, each click counting rhythm. Distance, breath, rage. Then the court saw the truth. Elias Ward was not slower than Carvox. He was making Carvox faster in the wrong direction. The warlord triggered his armor jets, launching into a killing charge. Elias waited until the last heartbeat, then hooked the cane under a loose power cable near the dual ring. A cable no noble warrior would have noticed. The cable snapped upward. Carvax struck it mid-stride, his armor seized. A fraction of a second stolen from a giant, Elias stepped inside the crescent blade, drove his shoulder into the damaged breastplate, and struck the nerve cluster below the horned jaw. The sound was small, almost disappointing, but the warlord dropped to one knee hard enough to crack the floor. No one breathed, because the human had not beaten a monster with strength. He had done something worse. He had understood him. Carvax staggered up. Rage burning in his eyes, he abandoned ritual form and reached for Valara. A forbidden move, a coward move. The guards froze because power often confuses obedience. But Elias did not freeze. He threw the cane into the open hinge of the warlord's gauntlet. The metal locked. Carvox's hand stopped inches from the princess, and Elias moved with sudden speed, seized the crescent blade by its dead angle, turned with Carvax's own momentum, and pinned the weapon down into the crystal between them, close enough to end him. Controlled enough not to, the Empress rose. "Finish him," she commanded. The court waited for blood. Elias looked down at Carvax, then at Valara, then at the ministers who had built a civilization out of forcing children to obey old fears. He shook his head. "No, killing a kneeling man is not victory. It is maintenance for cowards." Carvax snarled that humans had no honor. Elias answered, "We do. That is why we keep inventing new ways to stop becoming what hurt us." And that was when Princess Valara understood why Earth had sent a retired man. Not because he was all they had left, but because he was what remained after war failed to own him. The court erupted. Some nobles shouted for execution. Others whispered that the rite was complete. Carvax had fallen. Valara stood free. The Empress raised one hand and every voice died. "You refuse to kneel," she said. Elias took his coat back from Valara. "I refuse to kneel to power. Your Majesty, there is a difference." Then he turned to the princess and bowed. Not low, not submissive, but real. Valara bowed back by dawn. Every screen in the Dominion carried the same image. Carvax on one knee, Valara standing unclaimed, and an old human refusing the throne while bowing to the person it tried to control. Across 1,000 worlds, servants stood straighter. Soldiers questioned one cruel order. Daughters remembered the sound of a cane on crystal. Earth had sent no prince, no conqueror, no champion hungry for songs. Earth had sent a retired human who knew the oldest truth of civilization. Power demands knees because it fears spines, and when the Empire ordered him to kneel, Elias Ward simply stood and taught a princess how to do the same.